I've become involved in politics because I was becoming increasingly concerned about the direction the country was taking. In particular, what I will call the political corruption, especially at the federal level and in Congress. It's what I can speak to best because the issues that I have worked on professionally are federal issues for the most part. Intellectual property, internet policy, cybersecurity. And what I've been seeing is that we have a body of people in Congress who get money from very large corporations and corporate interests that they put into their political war chest, and then they use against their opponents, and it's such an abundance they can flood the market, digital, waves, whatever market you mean, all the media, and then they stay in office, but they're doing it for their own benefit and not really meeting the needs of the people in their district. My interest has always been to bring whatever work I'm doing, technology or history, and talk about citizenship and politics and democracy. And that's when I began to think about jumping into the race myself. My vision is to economically inspire this entire district. You know, we have this big economy going on around us, but frankly, we have not seen that vitality in this district. And I think I can understand why. You have to have healthy people and educated people, a good infrastructure, shovel-ready for investment, proper maintenance, protection, preservation of our natural resources, and then you can make it attractive to investment. I come from a modest background. My father owned a restaurant. My mother was a barmaid. I have an older brother who was born very prematurely in the 50s when there wasn't the medical science to address neonatal needs, and as a result is developmentally disabled. So I'm a little hardwired to speak for people who can't speak for themselves. He was institutionalized after I was born, and I grew up visiting him in the wretched situation of those large institutions. He's now fine. I'm his guardian, and he's in a good group home just outside of Victor. So if people want to elect someone who really wants to go to Washington to address their needs and help them and bring something back in terms of these areas we've talked about, healthcare, education, infrastructure, the environment, I think they would do well to give me a chance. I think people are looking for a change in this district. He's had a chance, almost 10 years. We haven't seen anything from it. And when people talk about clearing the swamp, I believe they're talking about political corruption in Congress, the motivation that causes people to vote for their corporate benefactors instead of their constituents. I love this place. I've lived here my whole life. I grew up in Western New York. I have lived in the southern tier in the Finger Lakes all my adult life. I have had the fortune to travel in my professional capacity. So I have been to Silicon Valley. I have been to the areas that are flourishing right now. I know we can do this if we just have the leadership that we need in Congress, as well at the other levels, but in Congress, to bring us to a place where we can economically take off. And when I say economically, I also mean socially and culturally, to build happy people, healthy people, good families, and a good community. That's what my life has been all about, and I want to share it with everybody else.